Welcome back to another exciting episode of Empowering Time Markers. I'm your host, Tia Bottum, and today we have a very special guest joining us. Their incredible journey from unemployment to becoming a successful entrepreneur. They have not only overcome the challenges of unemployment, but have also managed to turn their life around and create a thriving business. But that's not all. With the holiday season just around the corner, our guest will also be shedding light on the dark side of the holidays, scams. They will be providing us with invaluable tips and insights on how to protect ourselves from falling victim to holiday scams. So whether you're someone who's currently facing unemployment or simply looking to safeguard yourself from holiday scams, this episode is a must listen. Our guest story of resilience and their expertise in scam prevention will surely leave you inspired and better equipped to navigate these challenging times. So without further ado, let's dive into this enlightening conversation. Welcome to Empowering Time Markers, the podcast where we share inspiring stories, empower listeners with business tips, and create connections. I'm your host, Tia Bottum, and I'm thrilled to have you join us on this journey of growth and empowerment. Our guest today is an author and business owner that studies technology, business, and computers. One day in 2001, he lost his job. This led to 10 years of underemployment and a convo with his wife about his skill and passion with computers. Please welcome Duane McHodgkins. Hi, Duane. How are you?
Hi, Tia. Real good. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Tell me about your story.
Yeah, as you said, gone through a number of years of unemployment, underemployment, even had a job where I was traveling all the time. And ever tried to find a job when you're traveling all the time? It's really rough getting off the road. I would get people that would call me and say, "Hey, saw your resume. We're doing interviews on Tuesday. I'm in Phoenix. Can we do that Saturday?" And yeah, we'll get back to you. And of course, you never hear.
No.
So luckily, I did finally, one week I was in town and I was able to get a job with Hostess, the snack cake and company.
And this is in Colorado.
So I was running a route for them. And this is like getting up really early in the morning, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then working. Usually I'd be off by like noon or something like that. But it was pretty physical. And of course, the trucks weren't air conditioned. So the summers were brutal, weren't heated real well. So the winters were brutal. And I'm going, okay, I'm in my mid 40s. I don't think I can do this job for another 20, 25 years and retire. In a conversation with my wife one day, we were just looking at what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And she mentioned to me, "Well, you've been helping friends and family with computers for years. What if you did that?" And it really just hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, wow, that's a great idea. So at that point, I'm like, okay, so what am I going to do? I guess I'd probably need to get some certifications or something like that. And the bad thing was, this was in early September. And the problem was the classes at the community college had started in late August. So now I'm looking at, okay, I've got this dream, I've got this drive, I want to start something, but I can't do it for 4 more months. So I was a little dejected by that. And again, my wife said, what if you get some of the books and just start going through that? At least that'll keep you interested. Again, wow, that's a great idea. I got some books and started going through them. As things turned out, I never did go to community college. My goal was to work for myself. So I didn't need to get any of the certifications to prove that I had this knowledge. I just had to prove it to myself. Started going through these books. I had some older computers that I could play with and figured things out. And honestly, that's the best way that I learn. I learn much better reading and trying than I do in a classroom setting. So that was in 2010. And I just threw some ads up on Craigslist. At the time, Craigslist wasn't sketchy or as sketchy. And my son wasn't crazy about it. He's like, "Dad, you're putting something up on Craigslist. People call you and you go to their house. Do you think that's safe?" I'm like, in my calendar, I have the addresses that I'm going to. So if I don't come home, you can at least find me. He didn't like that answer, but
Yeah.
oh well. And so, I started doing it. The way Craigslist worked at the time, you could refresh your ad to the top of the list every 3 days. So I made 5 ads. That way I always had 1 or 2 at the top of the list. And since I was working, going in at 1 o'clock in the morning, getting off around noon, I had afternoons and early evenings to start building my business. And at that point, I thought, okay, my goal is 2015, gives me 5 years. I'm going to build myself a business and quit my job. So started doing that. There were weeks where I had one customer, some weeks I had two or three. Just that when you start out, it's rough. It takes time, especially when you've got a full-time job, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And then in November of 2012, Hostess was really struggling, and they actually asked all of their unions across the country, hey, we need some concessions. We need you guys to pay a little bit more of your insurance, take a little bit of a pay cut. I can't even remember what all the things were. And pretty much all of the unions that this was necessary for us to keep our jobs, except for one union. I can't remember where it was now, but it was a bakers union. And they decided, nope, we're going to draw a line in the sand. And they hoped that Hostess would blink. They didn't.
Mm.
Went to work one Friday morning. It was actually November 16th of 2012. And I'm running my route. And about 6 o'clock, I walk into a grocery store, and the receiver and another couple of vendors are standing there. And they're like, so what's going on? I said, I don't know. Why? And they said, on TV, they're saying that Hostess is shutting down. I'm like, oh, okay. And about that time, my wife called, and she was watching the news, and she said, yeah, they're saying that Hostess shut down. Okay, I haven't heard anything. About 15 minutes later, I get a text message from my boss that said, okay, guys, they've decided to shut the doors. So if you want, you can finish your route. If not, you can just come on in. Doesn't matter. So at that point, I'm going, okay, I need all the money I can get. So I went to each customer and basically told them, okay, you see what's going on the news. This is probably the last time in maybe a long time that you're going to get our stuff. And I emptied my truck. I
Right.
sold everything I had on my truck, which was great. It's okay. Here's my last paycheck. Hopefully it'll be a little bit bigger.
Was there commission? I
Yeah,
was
it was
like,
a commission job.
okay. Right.
So then I went back and loaded my truck, and it's okay. Now I'm unemployed. So at this point, it's about 3 years early. I wasn't making enough in my business to support me and my family, but I had a big decision to make. Is this can I make the business go? Or do I need to try and find another job that might or might not work the way this job did? And I decided, you know what? I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah.
That was the best decision I've ever made. It's funny because years later, I was talking to my son. He said, I was scared to death when you lost your job. I thought we were going to lose everything. But you seemed pretty calm about the whole thing. So I guessed it was okay.
Oh, what a good dad. That's awesome.
Yeah, I started doing it. Now, luckily, because Hostess had shut down, I did have a little bit of help. I was able to get unemployment. And the way unemployment works is you get a certain amount every week unless you work.
Right.
If you work, you are supposed to report the hours you work, and you'll get less money or no money, depending on how much you made. So because of that, I was able to extend my unemployment for a longer period of time because I wasn't getting the full amount every week.
Mm-hmm.
Some weeks I got nothing because I had a good week and I had a few customers.
Okay.
So that really helped me to do that. And I started the way I was advertising my business. Okay, so I'm doing the free Craigslist ads. I really had no money to invest in this. The other thing I did is I went on meetup.com
Okay.
and started looking for business groups. And so I would go to networking groups for businesses, and I would tell people my story, and I would offer my computer services. And I was able to grow my business in that manner.
Yeah.
Fast forward through 2014, 15, 17, 18, 19, my business grew every year. And then 2020 rolls around, the pandemic.
Yeah.
And they were shutting everything down. Now, my business was doing fantastic
I bet.
because there were so many companies and individuals that were calling me saying, now we're not supposed to go in the office. How do I access that computer? I still need the information that's there. I can't do it from home. Yeah, you can. So I spent 3 or 4 months just working with individuals in smaller companies, showing them how to make that work. I had one company that at one point they thought that maybe they were going to make it so you better have a reason to be driving down the road. And I had a company that actually emailed me a form that basically said I was an essential part of their business and I needed to be able to come to their office to fix things. So I put that in my glove box. I called that my get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
Never had to use it. Found it a year or so later. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. But even though my business was doing so well, because I had built my business with networking with other business owners, I saw many of my friends that were struggling and struggling hard. And I felt terrible about it. I'm like, there's got to be a way that I can help. I can do something. And driving around one day, I started seeing companies that had figured it out. I saw restaurants that they had just gotten a large order of produce and fresh meat and stuff like that when they were forced to shut down. Grocery stores weren't forced to shut down. So they decided we're now a grocery store.
Interesting.
And they sold off all the stuff that they had just purchased. Had they not done that, if all would have spoiled, they would have lost a bunch of money. So they figured out how to make it work. And I kept everywhere I'd go, I'd be looking for these. And then the business eras of the pandemic, that phrase just hit me. So I said, okay, I need to start documenting all of this stuff. And so I just started sitting down and just going through things that I had done that were successful for me, and then things that I had seen these other companies doing. And after a few weeks, I noticed I'm at 10 or 11 pages. I could turn this into a book. So I did a little research to see what 10 or 11 pages on Word, what does that mean? And I found out it's not pages, it's more about words. I discovered that about 30,000 words, if you have some pictures and some other things, can turn into a book that's about 150 pages. So I'm like, awesome. Now I've got a goal. I would wake up every morning and I would start writing. I interviewed 12 other people that I thought were heroes that were figuring it out, making it work. And from that, I got lessons from the business eras of the pandemic.
Oh my goodness. That is amazing. I love the journey to where you are now, which we're going to get to a little bit because now you're on to something else. But this book is amazing. What great insight in finding out who's innovative, who can change during adversity and all of that. The book seems very intriguing. I definitely want it. And you had said earlier that it's good for even right now. It's great information.
Yeah, of course, I wrote it during COVID. It came out, it actually hit Amazon in June of 2021. So that was right at the tail end of the pandemic. But as I look at it now, okay, the current economic condition with high inflation, people losing their jobs, a dollar doesn't buy what it used to buy. The lessons in here still help. And really, regardless of where you're at, these lessons, there's something in here for everybody, really, for individuals and businesses. For instance, and I'll give you a couple of the rules. Rule number 2 was the butterfly model. Basically, use the current time to grow. That one really came about during COVID. There were so many people that were sidelined. You're being sidelined. Take that time to grow. There are online courses. There are lots of ways that you can improve yourself. I talked in here about actually my son at the time. He wanted to be a personal trainer. That's a very in-person type of thing. But the number one or the highest used certifications for that were available online. And so he was able to spend a few months going through taking these certifications. He also took some other classes on nutrition and things like that so that he was ready to go. He actually doesn't use that now, but you know what? He has helped a number of his friends and himself to be a lot more physically fit because of that. Use those times when you're sidelined, use that to grow. The bottom line is time is going to pass either way. So you
Sure.
can come out bitter or you can come out better. So
Yes, I
that's
love
the way
that
to do it.
saying.
Another one, this is probably one of my favorites, and it's rule number 3. Everybody needs a side hustle.
Mhm.
Don't put all of your eggs in one basket. And actually, so this book was my side hustle at the time. Got my business. It's doing great, but is it always going to be doing great? Who knows? Let's divide those eggs up into other baskets. Talked a lot about people that had side hustles. I had a friend that she had an independent insurance agency. And of course, a lot of her business came from walk-ins.
Mm.
And now she doesn't have that anymore. And because she had this extra time, she was still getting paid because all of her existing customers were still customers. So she started painting, which she had done years and years ago. She actually ended up doing a number of paintings. She would post them on Facebook and things like that. Because of that, she actually got some of her paintings in a gallery. And now painting is a side hustle of hers. Actually, I think it might be more of a main thing, and maybe insurance is the side hustle now. But
Yeah.
you never know. So do these things. Find something that you love and do it on the side. You never know what's going to happen.
Passion definitely leads to energy
Yeah.
for projects or things like that, which is
Yep.
very useful. And I think during the pandemic, it definitely made people slow down enough to be like, what do I really want to do with my life?
Yeah.
Mhm. Everything is completely different. And I love your passion project. Tell me about your a new one coming in the works.
I've actually been playing with this for about a year, and my goal now is to have this finished by the end of the year. It's a new book, and the book, I'm not entirely sure of the title. I think this will be the title. We'll see, but it's called The Higher Education Scam.
Mhm.
And basically, what that's about is I remember in high school, and this was more than 40 years ago, teachers telling us things like, it's really important that you do a good job on these papers because the papers that you take in college are going to be much harder, and everybody needs to go to college. And I'm looking at that going, what? I don't like being in school. There's no way in the world I'm going to spend 4 more years in college.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. I don't physically think I can do it. I was an okay student. If you averaged my grades, it would probably be a high B type of environment. The school environment is not where I thrive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like to sit that long and just get lectured. Did
Mm.
not work for me. For some people, it's great.
Right.
But the message, and I know this message is still out there today, and the message is, if you don't get a college degree, you will amount to nothing.
Yeah.
And that's just not true.
It's a farce.
Yeah, I don't have a college degree, and you know what? I'm doing just fine. I could give you just many examples of people that don't have college degrees that did just fine. A lot of people that started businesses, they quit college to start their business. What does that tell you?
Right.
So
Yeah. I 100% cannot wait for this book. And I would love to have you on again to promote it when it does
sounds
come out.
good. Sounds good.
It's amazing. I totally agree with you. I've said that, and that's how I raise my kids. I'm like, if school is your thing, do it. But like, it doesn't make you better than anybody else. And it's
No,
certainly not needed. And you want to know exactly what you want to do before you like spend all that money. And it
exactly.
shows now, like over the years that they've been pushing education, which makes sense because it was from educators. So like,
Well,
obviously they're going to
it's
promote it.
funny because I actually talk about that specific thing in the book.
They think it's the best thing since sliced bread. At the same time, when that happened, all the trade jobs actually they started making so much more money
Yeah, yeah,
because there's not as many anymore. So
yeah,
if you know a trade, and that's what I told my son, I'm like, you can go to college, but make sure you have a trade, know a
yeah,
skill, because if there's a natural disaster or anything happens, they're not looking for a teacher. They're looking for somebody to fix their stuff. And it's so true. And
yep,
like, just don't pick a path and just think this is the end all be all. There's many different paths. And luckily we live in America and we can have choices. So I
yep.
love that you're doing that. It's amazing.
Yeah, one thing that I've found really interesting. So I still do a lot of networking to grow my business. And in the groups that I'm in, one of the biggest areas that are always trying to recruit people into these groups is in the trades. They want to get handymen, they want to get plumbers and electricians and HVAC companies into these groups. And every so often, we'll get one of those people that will show up for a couple of the meetings
Mhm.
and then they disappear. And when you finally catch up with them, they go, yeah, I've just gotten too busy.
Right.
Number one, I don't need the networking because I'm so busy. Number two, I don't have time because I'm so busy.
Job security.
Exactly. Yeah. So anybody that has an aptitude for those types of things, yes, go for it. you will do well. There's not a lot of competition. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. And it's not promoted really. That's
No.
so sad
Yeah.
because there's a lot of people that I think that they feel pressure to do what they're not passionate about.
Yeah.
And somebody's listening to this and you need that like confirmation, like to follow your dreams or your passion, do it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Do you have 3 tips for entrepreneurs that are just beginning or in the first years of their business?
Yeah. So basically, the first one is do whatever you need to do to remain essential. Don't let anything sideline you. If that's creating a side hustle, so you've got other streams, whatever that is, do those things. I think back to in the 80s when I was growing up, Sears was a huge company and we always shopped there. Now they're pretty much gone.
Yeah.
Kmart the same way. That was the discount store. They're all but gone.
Mhm.
So they did not do that. They did not change. They did not see what was coming. That's the first thing. Let's see. Go one is live beneath your means. Don't overspend. Don't try to look important. When I started my business, like I said earlier, I did it on the thinnest shoestring ever. And I even now I don't spend a lot. I do have a marketing person. I meet with her about once a month. We make a bunch of videos. I throw those up on Facebook and I throw them up on YouTube and that generates a little bit for me. But for the most part, it's still the networking, which is mostly free or almost free. Don't do the Craigslist stuff anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, so live beneath your means. Fine. You don't have to spend a ton of money. Find ways to not do that. And the third one is to stay positive. Don't, I've heard this said a lot of different ways. There's the one that, okay, I heard this a couple days ago. If you had 86,000 at the bank and 10 of it disappeared, would you just throw the whole 86,000 away trying to find the 10? No, you wouldn't. Okay. So there's 86,000 whatever seconds in a day,
Mm.
right? So you have 10 seconds that just really upsets you. Don't blow the other 86,000 just because of that hint,
Right.
you know, move on. Everything else is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Concentrate. If you really sat down and looked at everything that you do, you would find that, you know what? There's a certain percent that's positive. There's a certain percent that's negative. What you concentrate on is what you will see.
Yeah.
So if you concentrate on the positive, you really won't see that negative. It's there, but you know what? You're concentrating on the positive. And that's what you have to do to start a business. Because you know what? Some days are good, some days are bad. And if you concentrate on the good, you will have more.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love those. And it brought to mind you focus on what you're focusing on. If you want to just keep looking at the negative, you're not going to
Yep.
get anywhere except for more negative. You're going to see more of that. So if you focus on the positive, that's great. I love
Yeah.
those three.
That's the old, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're
You're
right.
right. Yeah, I love that one. That's one of my favorites. Before we go to game time, I checked out your blog and you have
Okay.
such great articles in there.
Thank you.
So good. And I just want people to know definitely check out your YouTube and your blog and your website. There is gems of information that you share freely. It's
Thank you.
amazing. So thank you for doing that. And I think that you have a big heart for wanting to help people. And tell me, what is your inspiration? I know you're a dad and you're a husband, but what is your inspiration to want to help?
I think it's the same reason that I got into fixing computers. I like the immediate positive from that.
Mm.
So if I fix something, okay, I get that little high from fixing that. Okay. Same thing with if I'm sharing information, I'm helping people, I'm getting that little high from helping those people. So
Well,
that's what I just like to do. It's addicting.
if you're going to have an addiction, I
If
guess
it's
that's the one to have.
that's right. That's right.
With the holidays coming up, it's huge for scams and like getting fished and all of those words. I don't exactly know all the things. Can you tell me, is there a tip or somewhere people could go? And can they contact you to help them, especially like the older generation? I know my grandmother always needed help and she didn't understand certain scams. Could you tell me a little more?
I deal with this type of thing on a daily basis. So there's two things actually. So the first one is when you get an email, don't look at the header of the email, the title of the email, look at the actual email address. And if you're on a phone, that's sometimes hard to do. You might have to click a couple of different times. You've got to find the name at company dot whatever. Okay, you've got to find that because one of the biggest scams out there is a scam where you get an email that says, "Oh, your McAfee is expiring and we've renewed it for you and it's going to be $400. If you think this is incorrect, call us." Okay, you call them and they say, "Oh, no problem. We just need to get on your computer to take it off." Once they're on your computer, "Oh, you've got all these problems, but it's okay because for $800, we'll solve these, whatever." And if you look at the actual email address, it doesn't say billing at McAfee.com or invoice at whatever. It'll say Joe Smith 4782 at gmail.com or something like that. Okay. Now that large companies, they have their own domains. So they're not going to use someone's private Gmail account. If you get an email like that, delete it right away. It is fake. Okay. The other thing is on my YouTube channel, there's a video that's called Internet Search Ads versus Listings. And in that video, I talk about when you're on the internet and you do a search, the first 5 or 6 things that come up usually are ads. And they actually say ads, but it's in real small letters, and in big letters is what you searched for, and they're going to solve your problem. Okay. So again, don't look at the heading or the title of that search item. Look below it for the web address. And I talk about it in this video, but basically the part where it says thisword.com or .net or whatever, doesn't matter what's before this word, doesn't matter slash after the .com or .net or whatever. That's the main part, is that part. If that's not the company that you think you're talking to, you are not talking to that company. I've even seen you're having problems with your HP printer. So you Google how to fix my HP printer, and you'll see a website that says HP printer fix. Okay. That's not HP. That's HP printer fix. So it's probably not HP, and it might be someone that is trying to scam you. So
Wow.
that's my big tip.
Those are great. Thank you
Thank
so much for that. Tell me all the services you have.
So one service that really goes along with the scams is I've got an email newsletter that's called Email Scam Busters. And in this newsletter, every month I highlight 2 or 3 scams that I've seen and show you how to know that it's a scam so that you won't get scammed. Different, mostly email type stuff, but it's different scams every single month. And I've got a link on my callduane.com for that. Basically, it's $49.99 a year, and you'll get 12 editions for that. Also, you'll get the archive where you can see past issues if you want to go in and look at those. But I charge $49.99 because what I've found is, okay, it's a cup of coffee a month is basically what it's costing. But I've found that people are more likely to read something if they're paying for it. If it's free, yeah, I don't have time. I'll do it later. But if you pay for it, even a nominal amount, yeah, you're going to read it.
Yeah, I think that's a good price, and I don't have to research. You send it to me. That's great.
Yeah.
So when they contact you, what kinds of things do you fix or handle, or what's your expertise?
Pretty much anything hardware, software related to your computer, I help people with. I've got customers all over the country. I have one customer, she used to live about 5 miles from me. She moved to Montana. And a couple times a year, she calls me up and says, "Hey, it's time to do a cleaning on my computer." And so I log in remotely and clean up her computer. And yeah, it's all good.
Awesome.
I used to have a customer that designed golf courses all over the world. He actually called me from South Korea, and I was able to log into his computer and solve his issue. So
amazing.
You'd be surprised. The lag is not as much as you would think it would be going across the world like that.
I understand. My husband actually was there for a year. The world has definitely changed. It's amazing. So any kind of computer software stuff, you're the guy. Call Duane. That's awesome. Thank you. Awesome. So we're going to shift gears for a moment and play a little game. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So we're going to play Would You Rather?
Okay.
Right? Okay. So would you rather see 10 minutes in the future or 150 years in the future?
Wow. That is really tough. 150 years in the future, then you would actually be able to see big picture things that have changed. 10 minutes in the future, you might be able to see some really important right now things that could have a big picture ramification, right? I think I'd rather see the 150 years just to see good or bad what has become.
Yeah, I can understand that.
And then at that point, hey, you can work towards getting there quicker or getting somewhere different based on what you saw.
Yeah, for sure. Especially in technology, right?
Yeah.
Would you rather be forced to sing along or dance along to every song you heard?
I already pretty much sing along.
Awesome.
Anybody driving next to me, they probably think, what is the matter with this guy?
They're probably thinking he's having the time of his life. I wonder what he's listening to. Would you rather find, I already know the answer to this. Would you rather find true love today or win the lottery next year?
Yeah, I think true love. Yeah.
Okay.
I've got that. I've got that. Been with my wife. It'll be 39 years in a month. We have 2 kids that are doing great, and we talk to them a few times a week, even though they don't live near us. That's great.
Well, then if you already have that, wouldn't you rather win the lottery?
Yeah, that'd be good too. Yeah.
Okay. Would you rather stay in during snow or build a fort?
Oh boy. I think it used to be that I would rather build a fort, but you know what? Now, nah. I don't enjoy being out in the cold and stuff like that. So
Now it hurts a little more. Would you rather have a personal maid or a personal chef?
I enjoy cooking.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, I do a lot of the cooking for my wife and me.
So,
I think I'd rather have a maid because you know what? I'll make that mess. You take care of it.
would you rather live in a haunted house by friendly ghosts or be a ghost reliving your average day after you die?
I love making new friends, meeting new people. I think living in a house with friendly ghosts would probably be fun. Yeah.
Awesome. Would you rather have one wish granted today or 10 wishes 20 years from now?
I think I'm more of an immediate person. So I
Yeah.
think I'd rather
Instant
have one.
gratification.
Yeah.
I can tell by your answer of your inspiration. Would you rather be reincarnated as a fly or just stop existing after you die?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I really don't want to be a fly.
Okay. Would you rather have Celine Dion or Eminem perform a soundtrack of your life?
Oh, Eminem. Yeah.
Would you rather win on Survivor or on The Bachelor?
I see myself as more of a survivor person. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, do you regret playing this game?
I really enjoyed those. Those were a lot of fun. Yeah, that was nice.
Awesome.
Great questions.
Thank you. Okay. Tell me, I know that you have a really big tip for a freebie. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I said that my book is on Amazon. And what a lot of people don't realize is if you have Amazon Prime, you can go in and you can download it for free. Take advantage of that. It's a quick read. It's 157 pages. Won't take you long at all. So check it out. As I said, there's something in there for everybody. Really, the people that I would love to see this is people that are getting ready to end something in high school, in college, ending a job. If you're starting something new, this would be great. So check it out, download it for free.
What a great gift and what a great insight. So, like people in transition, right? That's awesome. Awesome. Transitions are like the hardest part of life. So, if you have some kind of
Yes.
guide or like you're a very big beacon of light for people, I think, that you give them hope and you're just so positive. I love it. And I love chatting with
Thanks.
you. So, thank you so much for being here and sitting
Oh,
with
you're welcome.
me.
This has been fun.
Awesome. I have 3 questions. One, is there anything else you'd like to share that we didn't touch on today yet?
No, I think we covered pretty much everything. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So I have 2 final questions for you. The first one is, tell me what legacy means to you and what role does it play in your life?
So legacy to me is leaving a good example. And the last 13, 14 years of my life, I have really tried to be that good example for my kids. And both of my kids have that entrepreneurial bug. And I know that they got that from watching me, that they realize that, you know what? They can do whatever they want to do. I want more people to have that. I don't want people to be stifled by what they think they can't do.
I just want to tell you too, I just feel drawn to tell you that even before that, you showed resilience and tenacity. I think that
Thank you.
just knowing you in this short amount of time, like you're a great dad and they are very lucky.
Thank you.
So, final question. How are you marking this time in your life?
Boy. Try to do everything that's worth it. I don't know.
You're
Just
writing
try
a
to get out
book.
there.
That's
I'm
awesome.
doing the things I love.
Yeah,
Not taking no for an answer. Yeah.
awesome.
I,
Well, thank you, Duane. I
yeah.
loved
Thank you.
speaking with you today, and you're absolutely wonderful. I will have all your links. It's one main one because you're super smart with computers. It'll be in the show notes and the description.
Yeah, I got really lucky with that. A few years ago, I was in a brainstorming session with my marketing person, and we were going, yeah, we should do like a series of videos on Ask Duane. And oh, I should get AskDuane.com. It wasn't available. But when you do that, it usually gives you other choices. And one of the choices that was available was callDuane.com. I was like, yes, I have to have it.
Yay. Good choice. It is calldwayne.com. It's fantastic, easy to remember.
Yep.
So if you're driving and hearing this, that should be easy. Calldwayne.com. So thank you so much for being here. And I can't wait to see all of your success in the future.
Thanks, Tia.
I hope you found our conversation with Duane inspiring and informative. Remember, no matter what challenges you may be facing, there is always hope and the potential for a brighter future. As we approach the holiday season, don't forget to stay vigilant and protect yourself from scams. Take the tips and advice shared by Duane to heart and share them with your loved ones. Together, we can create a safer and more secure holiday season for everyone. Be sure to check out his website, callduane.com. That's CALLDUANE.com. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Empowering Time Markers. We hope you found inspiration, gained valuable insights, and connected with our incredible guest. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review. Your feedback means the world to us and helps us continue to bring you empowering content. And remember, the journey doesn't end here. Stay connected with us on social media, where we'll be sharing additional resources, behind-the-scenes content, and updates on upcoming episodes. Thank you for joining us on this empowering journey. Together, let's continue to make our mark on the world one moment at a time. Until then, keep empowering yourself and others. This is Tia Bottum, signing off from Empowering Time Markers.